The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning here at 5 a.m. on this Wednesday. Good to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher. Wednesday, halfway through the work week and a little cooler. I know a lot of people are excited about that.
Yeah, Kevin's off this morning. Let's take a look at your forecast. And like Maddie said, we are going to see some cooler temperatures today. If you're outside, if you're stepping outside anytime soon, just know it's going to be a little chillier than what we saw yesterday. So nothing more than a light jacket at most. 51 degrees is the current temperature in Bakersfield right now. Winds out of the northwest at 6 miles per hour. Humidity at 61%. Here's what you can expect over the next several hours throughout the day. You notice the difference? About 10 degrees cooler than where we were 24 hours ago. So we'll be in the mid-70s today. No 80s at all in Kern County. And it'll be a very beautiful day. Up in Tehachapi, you're seeing clear skies as well, with a temperature of 41 degrees, so about 10 degrees cooler than Bakersfield. Winds out of the west-northwest at 10 miles per hour. Humidity is at 76%. Here's what you can expect over the next several hours. It's going to be a windy day in the mountains. There is a wind advisory for portions of the mountains, although it's going to be more in the desert communities. But you'll still see a few gusts for sure. Winds up to close to 30 miles per hour by the afternoon. Temperatures are going to be in the high 50s. So we'll have a look at your 7-day forecast. Plus, we're tracking that chance of rain for this weekend. That's coming up in just a bit. 5:02 now, and this morning, former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin is in jail awaiting sentencing. Yesterday, a jury convicted him on all 3 counts of murder and manslaughter in the death of George Floyd.
Word of a verdict late yesterday afternoon had leaders in cities across the country on edge, with fears of the potential for violent protests to break out if Chauvin was acquitted. Instead, people celebrated his conviction in places like New York, Washington, and Minneapolis. NBC's Chris Pallone has a story.
Hi there, Maddie and Alex. We had a peaceful night here in Minneapolis, and it's quiet now outside the Hennepin County Courthouse. Far different scene than several hours ago when hundreds of people turned out to hear this verdict read. In Minneapolis, near the spot where George Floyd died, people gathered late into the night to reflect. The gathering more muted, more solemn than the raw release of emotion outside the courthouse when the verdict became known. Bursts of joy.
It was just a beautiful moment when we finally get to see somebody get at least an inch of justice.
And relief. For George Floyd's family, the quest for justice, personal.
I just miss him so much. I'm so hurt right now. God, I'm so happy. Today, we are able to breathe again.
The jury, 7 women and 5 men, deliberated just 10 hours before convicting former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin on all 3 counts.
As to count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty.
Chauvin led away in handcuffs to await sentencing as spontaneous celebrations broke out in several cities across the country. For some, a prayer answered. Not an ending, they say, but a step forward.
We got to keep fighting. That's right. I'm going to put up a fight every day because I'm not just fighting for George anymore. I'm fighting for everybody around this world.
A fight for accountability and a fight for equality in the eyes of the law. Sentencing for Derek Chauvin will be in about 2 months. If he got the maximum, he would face upwards of 40 years in prison. In Minneapolis, Chris Pallone, 17 News.
And the guilty verdict reached far beyond the city of Minneapolis. Coming up in our next half hour, we'll have reactions from local leaders across Kern County.
17 Crime Watch this morning. 1 person's dead after a late-night shooting in northeast Bakersfield. Kern County Sheriff's deputies say they responded to reports of a shooting in the 1000 block of Water Street just after 11:50 p.m. Kern County Sheriff's Office says they found the victim unresponsive and not breathing. The victim died at the scene. No information on the shooter at this time, but if you know anything, you're urged to call KCSO at 861-3110. Meantime, the family of a man shot to death at a Bakersfield motel is asking for help bringing his body home for a funeral. Corey Michael Fisher was a father of 4 from Michigan. Fisher was fatally shot at the Rosedale Inn on Buck Owens Boulevard Sunday night. His sister-in-law, Samantha Fisher, says he was in town visiting friends the weekend he was killed. According to police, an argument broke out in the parking lot between Fisher and an unknown suspect. Witnesses told police that the suspect shot Fisher once, then drove off with a woman in a dark, early 2000s model Ford Crown Victoria. If you'd like to donate to the effort to bring his body home, we have a link to the GoFundMe on our website, kget.com. Meantime, anyone with more information about the shooting can call Bakersfield Police at 327-7111. And remember, we follow every homicide case on kget.com. If you have pictures, fundraisers, or any tips you'd like us to know about, you can click on the homicide tracker icon on our homepage.
Our KGT homicide tracker logged a record-breaking 139 killings in 2020, and today Kern County is remembering the lives lost. The district attorney's office is hosting an honor and remembrance drive later today. It's part of Victims' Rights Week. Poster photos of the victims will be seen outside the courthouse for anyone driving eastbound on Truxton. It'll happen from 2:30 till 3:30 in the afternoon. The drive is happening instead of the march that is usually organized for Victims' Rights Week, and that's all because of the pandemic. New coronavirus cases may be at some of the lowest levels in more than a year, but some so-called COVID long haulers are losing their battle. Public Health reported 9 new deaths yesterday. All of those deaths happened last month. 1,331 lives have been lost to COVID-19 in Kern County since the beginning of the pandemic. Public Health also announced 134 new cases yesterday. State data shows 28 people are in the hospital, 8 are in the ICU. Meantime, we're getting a better picture of who is being affected the most from this deadly virus. Public Health released new numbers regarding our death toll. Those 65 and older continue to be the most affected age group, making up nearly 66% of coronavirus deaths. This group remains disproportionately affected, only making up less than 12% of Kern County. Those with comorbidities like hypertension and diabetes continue to see a correlation in deaths. Only 39 deaths out of more than 1,300 have no comorbidities. There have been no deaths in children. From Public Health's research, men continue to be affected more than women in the county.
President Biden will give an update on the response to the COVID-19 pandemic and the state of vaccinations today. Remarks will come as all adults in every U.S. state, Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico are now eligible for a COVID-19 vaccine. This meets the April 19th deadline that President Biden set in the past 2 weeks. According to officials, the U.S. has administered first-dose vaccinations to more than 131 million people. And the Centers for Disease Control says about 84.3 million people have been fully vaccinated.
Clinica Sierra Vista is now offering rapid COVID-19 testing and COVID-19 vaccinations. Call 833-278-4584 to make your appointment. But don't delay. Clinica Sierra Vista, putting patients first.
Switching gears to education news this morning, Bakersfield College is holding a one-day express enrollment event today for new and returning students ahead of the summer and fall semesters. It's happening from noon till 8 p.m. Counselors and support staff will be available to assist participants with placement and registering for the right classes that fit your needs and schedule. Anyone interested can sign up at bakersfieldcollege.com. And good news for soon-to-be college graduates. Taft College will hold an in-person commencement. The college made an announcement yesterday saying they will hold the ceremony on June 3rd for those graduating in the 2020-2021 academic year. For those students looking to attend the event, must RSVP by April 30th through their student account, but they will have a live stream for those who are unable to attend. It's happening at Taft Union High School's Marion Martin Memorial Stadium. The Kern High School District is allowing more students to return to in-person instruction. As of today, all freshman students are allowed to return to in-person instruction across all campuses. Students with disabilities, as well as seniors, have already been given the green light to return. And next Wednesday, all sophomore and junior students can go back to the classroom. The district says distance learning will remain an option.
Pacific Gas and Electric was arraigned yesterday in Sonoma Superior Court on a 33-count criminal complaint alleging it recklessly caused the 2019 Kincaid fire. The fire burned some 78,000 acres and destroyed 374 structures, including 174 homes. The criminal complaint charges PG&E with unlawfully starting a fire that caused a great bodily injury and burned inhabited structures as well as forest land. The court ordered that PG&E must file a dispute by May 11th and must return to court May 25th to set a date for arguments. As drought conditions worsen across the state, the Kern County Board of Supervisors Chair Philip Peters is calling on Governor Gavin Newsom to provide drought relief to Kern County. Peters' statement reads in part, in light of the recent water allocation announcement, I joined the other Central Valley leaders and signed onto a letter to the governor to request that his administration take immediate steps to address the emergency. We must ensure that our farmers continue to receive the water necessary to feed our state and nation, and our community has access to clean drinking water. Welcome back here at 5:20, taking a look at news around the nation. Calls for change in justice overnight in Columbus, Ohio, after a teenage girl was shot and killed by a police officer. Yesterday, dozens of people turned out to gather in front of the state house waiting for a verdict in the George Floyd case. But soon word spread that a Columbus police officer shot and killed a 16-year-old girl. The incident prompted demonstrations that lasted late into the night. Police released body camera footage, which appears to show the teen fighting and trying to stab another girl before being shot. Protesters say police should have done more to de-escalate the situation. The police say the shooting was within law.
Deadly force can be used to protect yourself or the protection of a third person. So that is within the policy, and that is within the law. That is what the law says. Whether this complies with that will be part of that investigation.
Columbus PD interim chief says that the officer involved has been taken off street duty.
In an oversight hearing of the U.S. Capitol Police and the response to the January 6th attack on the Capitol building will resume today at 2 p.m. The hearing, which will include testimony from Inspector General Michael Bolton of the U.S. Capitol Police, will take place remotely by video conference, according to officials. The January 6th attack infamously took the lives of 5 people, including a Capitol Police officer.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
Welcome back. Cal State Bakersfield offering 2 webinars this week to help local businesses navigate the process to get their share of more than $28 billion in pandemic relief funds. The university's Small Business Development Center will host the Managing Your Small Business Through the Pandemic webinar today from noon to 1 p.m. It will cover the $28.6 billion Restaurant Revitalization Fund, who qualifies, and how to apply. Thursday, the university will host the Managing SBA Disaster Loans and Grants webinar from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., going over the Targeted Economic Injury Disaster Loan Advance Program and how to apply for a potential grant of up to $10,000. For links to sign up, just head to kget.com.
Investigators are probing a deadly car crash in Texas involving a Tesla. Authorities say no one was behind the wheel when the accident occurred, killing 2 passengers. 2 federal agencies are now investigating the deadly crash. Tesla CEO Elon Musk tweeting that recovered logs showed the car's autopilot feature was never enabled. Here's NBC's Sam Brock.
This morning, conflicting information as investigators dig into the cause of a deadly Tesla crash in Texas that claimed the lives of 2 people.
The position of the bodies, the trajectory of the impact, they are 100% certain that no one was in the driver's seat driving that vehicle at the time of impact. They're positive.
But Tesla's founder and CEO Elon Musk pushing back overnight, tweeting in part, data logs recovered so far show autopilot was not enabled, adding standard autopilot would require lane lines to turn on, which this street did not have. So far, neither local nor federal agencies have confirmed Musk's claim about the logs. The National Transportation Safety Board has now joined the probe, noting its investigation will focus on the vehicle's operation and the post-crash fire.
Our office has never experienced a crash scene like this. This went on for close to 4 hours.
To douse the now mangled Tesla Model S, fire crews unloaded some 30,000 gallons of water.
From what we hear, why the fire looked as bad as it was those lithium batteries kept reigniting.
Tesla has faced questions for years about the safety of its autopilot technology and the potential danger of lithium batteries. The federal government is currently overseeing around 24 active investigations of Tesla crashes, from a driver falling asleep at the wheel near Boston.
I did a double take. This guy was just head between his legs, completely asleep.
To a devastating fatal crash in Mountain View, California in 2018. The NTSB found the driver in that case was likely distracted by playing a game on his smartphone. Tesla did not immediately respond to our requests for comment about the latest accident, but does state on its website, while using autopilot, it is your responsibility to stay alert, keep your hands on the steering wheel at all times, and maintain control of your car.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.